Luckily, Sean knows how to move in stealth. He gets me the stupid laptop. We get it to Ice's mom's, and Darlene turns the laptop into the police. I had to buy little Ice a nice new suit. Darlene had to go with them to the hearing. I knew it was probably all going to get squashed. But I've already given this attorney the 10 grand retainer, so I told him to make my kid sweat a bit. Let him know what he's really looking at. Ice ended up getting a 1-year probation, but it took a good 6 months to clear the legal bullshit up. The year-long probation didn't matter much to him. I don't think he really woke up, really felt how he'd fucked up, until the end of his senior year. It wasn't just the car break-in. He was distracted and slipping. Little Ice is smart as fuck. He's smart enough that he only has to show up at class to get a B. If he does the reading and applies himself, he can get the A. He was slacking and got caught out there. Adolescence hit him in the head. At the start of the year, he had a girlfriend and they were both getting great grades. She'd do the homework with him. But they broke up, and once he got single, he found out he was fly, found out he was slick, and he started hanging out with his dudes. Hanging with his bum-ass friends, breaking into fucking cars to snatch up laptops and tennis rackets. That's one thing I've learned about parenting. Your kids need to feel it. Not hear it. Feel it. By the end of 12th grade, he had decent grades, but ended up 5 credits short on graduation. They wouldn't let him walk. It would have been different if he didn't graduate and nobody said nothing. But because he couldn't graduate with his friends, couldn't walk the stage, he hurt. He really felt what I warned him about, because every friend and uncle and aunt had marked it on their calendar. He had 100 people, literally, that wanted to come to his graduation. And he had to man up and tell them he wasn't walking. He had to stay and redo summer school English. He had his diploma by mid-July, but he was still bummed out that he didn't get to walk the stage in June. And that's a big moment in any teenager's life. I'd warned him for a long time. Yo, I'm not the one that's going to feel fucked up, homie. You will. And he did. I saw it in his eyes. You can do all the parenting in the world, but something like that has to happen to them from time to time. Something that knocks the wind out of them. And that graduation shit hit him hard. I know that it sucked way more than me bawling him out or punishing him. Okay, let him just feel that sadness and disappointment, I told Darlene. Don't say nothing more. A few weeks after the graduation, he came to me, looking more focused than I've ever seen him. Dad, he said, I'm going to walk the stage in college. All right, cool. I'll hold you to that. Little Ice is a good kid. Way closer to a 10 than a 5. But he's got his issues. He's a teenager. It's rough for any teenager these days. In addition to all the usual pressures on today's kids, he's stuck having a famous father. And everybody he meets gives him that weight of responsibility, reminding him about the shoes he's got to fill. They're testing him all the time, letting him know, dude, you're carrying Ice-T's name. I don't care how balanced and together you are. That's a heavy weight for any kid to bear. Since I never had parents for those difficult years, all that crazed adolescent rabble-rousing shit, I have got to make my own blueprint. I can't follow some parenting manual. Everyone knows I was never an angel, so I've got to live by my own values. Iceberg family values. I've led an unconventional life, so I guess it makes sense I've had to deal with some unconventional parenting problems. Little Ice only recently started giving me headaches, but back in the day, I had way more complicated issues with my daughter, Letitia. One time, I got a phone call in the middle of the night from the LAPD. Is this the residence of Letitia Marrow? No, who's asking? We're looking for the parents of Letitia Marrow. What the hell's going on? I damn near dropped the phone. This cop starts telling me that my daughter was busted with her boyfriend in a raid on a dope house down in the hood. And not only was she busted in the dope house, she was caught in possession of her boyfriend's gun. A fucking dope house? I said, half losing my mind. I was never that into the drug game, of course, but I had friends who were big-time dealers. We'd be in the dope house and it was insane what you'd see. Niggas would show up with 6-foot lamps, lawn furniture, air conditioners to trade for drugs. One time we were in a dope house, and these fiends came with some huge machine they'd ripped off from a hospital. We found out later it was high-tech equipment that a cardiologist would use. We were all saying, "Where the fuck did you get this?" Crackheads can be some devious, creative motherfuckers. You never know what's going to happen next in a dope spot. So I consider myself lucky and bailed my daughter out of jail. I knew her boyfriend, some half-assed gangster, was going to advise her how to handle the jam. Of course, he'd want her to claim ownership of the pistol, but I had to take charge. The first mission was to get her separated from the boyfriend. I grabbed her hand tight as soon as I got her bailed out of lockup. "Letitia, I don't give a fuck if this is a guy you love, if you think you're going to be together forever," I said. "Fuck all of that. Basically, as far as the cops are concerned, you do not know him. You're just some bitch he met that very day. You ain't nothing but hood rat to him. You meet, he asks you to hang out. See, if you don't know him, then you don't gotta testify against him. Plus, he ain't gotta corroborate stories with you. You guys just met that day. Can you go along with that? Can y'all stick to that story?" "Yeah," she said, nodding. "Now, as for the pistol, you're just stupid. You wanted to be down. He asked you to hold it, and you didn't know no better. Got it? You're copping to being a dumbass, and that's it. He's taking that gun case." We talked to her boyfriend and told him the story. "He only met my daughter a few hours before the raid. He doesn't even know her real name, and he's copping to ownership of the piece." Dude shrugs at me, acting like a badass. "Yo, that's no problem, Ice." Then I got my daughter alone, in the passenger seat of my Benz. "Look, Tisha, if you're hanging out with a guy that's got a gun, then he's potentially, he's probably got people after him. You've got to know that the killers that are after him will just as soon kill you to get their point across. Anytime you meet a guy and he's carrying guns, you do not need to be fucking with him, period. You're just as much a target as he is. When niggas shoot up the car, they don't say, 'Hold up, miss the passenger.' They shoot the whole fucking car up. That's one lesson you need to know. Secondly, know this. When you're in a dope house and the door gets kicked in, you pray to God it's the cops. Because if it's them other motherfuckers, then everybody's dead. All of y'all. So therefore, you don't need to be in none of these spots with none of these guys." I'm lecturing her, driving her back to her mother's crib, but I'm also hearing another soundtrack in my mind. The B side of this record. I know that what she's doing right now is searching out a guy who's like her dad. Even as I'm telling her how she fucked up, I'm trying to come to grips with that. My daughter is always going to search for a guy that's got a hard edge, a guy that's tough, that's cool, that's gangster. Every other guy she meets, she thinks he's weak, because she's seen how I handle shit. She's seen her fathers get down. Almost every other boyfriend she had in the past, she'd complain to me, "Daddy, he's soft," or "He act like a punk." I don't really feel like I messed up with Tisha. I lived my life and I don't have any regrets. But I do recognize my dilemma. I don't care who you are as a father. Your daughter is going to seek you out. And all your negativity. Whatever you think you are as a husband and as a man, to your daughter, you're her first man. So it's like we always say in the game, don't talk about it. Be about it. It doesn't matter what you tell her to do, how to live her life, what to look for in a man. What you portray, your daughter will always, always seek out. So I have to own that too. But now I've transformed. Tisha's starting to look for guys that are more like the new me rather than the old me. When she was growing up, I was hustling. That's who I was. I was doing dirt every day. She went after those criminal-minded guys. Now that I'm on TV, who the fuck knows? Maybe she'll go after an actor. Today, Letitia and I are on great terms. She lives in Atlanta. She's real cool, a hip young lady. A mom with 3 kids of her own. And she's great with little Ice. One of her sons is a year younger than Ice, so they hang out, shoot hoops, play video games together. I've realized that as children come into their own adulthood, They understand more about parenthood, about your parenthood, your strong suits as well as your shortcomings and mistakes. Of course, the fact that I wasn't around when Tisha was a child hurt her a lot. But as she's grown up, been with guys, and things didn't work out, raising 3 children by herself, she realized that marriage is a great concept in theory, but it doesn't always work. She's going through domestic strife and the struggle of being a single mother, so she understands how complicated these things can be. Funny enough, Letitia is the first person I talked to about marrying Coco. I'd never married Tisha's mom, Adrienne. Never officially married Darlene. And this was the first time I ever considered formally tying the knot.